I'm Sandy Powell, and welcome to the Round Table. I have two delightful people here on my sofa today. I have my very good friend Denise Jones and my very good friend Bishop Keith Blue. Here today, I'm excited. Today, our topic is just one that we all can relate to, one that you all just sit back, take a moment. We're going to talk about some things as far as we all being able to relate to. The word church hurt. Take a moment. Church hurt. Let's define it. Church hurt. Church hurt is not when your pastor give you directives and instructions and guidance that is against what you want to do or what you feel, and you get your feelings hurt. That's not church hurt.
I agree. One of the things we were just talking about off camera is that a lot of things that people leave churches or say they got hurt in churches is actually their feelings got hurt.
Right.
And it's because they were either contrary to something that has already been established,
Right.
or it didn't go their way, or something. Jesus said that when he was tempted, that the pride of life is an issue.
Yes.
When you start being too proud to be corrected, and because you're not used to being corrected, it hurts your feeling, that's not called hurt. That's called discipline.
It is. Denise.
And oftentimes, one of Satan's greatest MOs or his method of operation is to get us to isolate issues so that we can have something else along with the other stuff that we have to argue over or to brood over so that we don't focus on what's most important, which is to unify
Right.
and to be one.
Right.
So he helps us do that. He helps us to operate in division by creating all of these different diagnoses, such as church hurt, my feelings, whatever, so that we'll get entangled in the intricacies of diagnosing instead of moving on to the healing and the recovery,
Right.
which is necessary in order for the church to unify.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the title, I'm used to tag a lot. Church hurt, being that we have defined that it is not when you get disciplined or corrected
Right.
or what I call checked. That's not church hurt.
Right.
And the same thing is when we member to member, we can hurt each other. That's church hurt.
That's exactly right. And one of the things when you talk about church, you're talking about a flock. Particularly, that's two sheep running into each other.
Right.
And the job of the shepherd is to get between that. But a lot of people won't involve the one who has the spiritual authority. So they'll blame it on one or two people they bumped into
Right.
and said, I got hurt in that church.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is
Right.
you didn't get hurt in the church. You got hurt by other sheep.
That's right. Could have been the same thing on your job.
Right. And it's
You run into
amazing.
somebody on your
Yeah.
job, or you have a little run in on your job.
keep it moving.
You don't call that Aflac hurt, do you?
You keep it moving.
You have to learn how to understand your what you're going through with someone, and not put it all on the church.
Right.
But somehow we feel like when we get hurt in a location, mainly the church, that we now can call it a church hurt, when actuality it's just two personalities, two people who have not figured
Right.
out
Yeah.
how to either get along or work out an issue or a problem. And we do know offenses are going to come.
Right.
So
And what's amazing is how we can toggle our minds to fit the environment or the venue. When we get hurt at work, we immediately dismiss it most of the time.
Yeah, we do.
And we deal with it because we're looking at the end result, which is that paycheck.
here we are.
And so when we come into the church and there are things that happen that we probably don't agree with,
Right.
somehow we take it more personal instead of adopting that same mindset
Right.
that we have on our jobs or in our families, in relationships.
Exactly.
In marriages.
Exactly.
You know, you get hurt in marriages sometimes.
Right.
But
A lot.
both of you, hello, but both of you are still in it.
Right.
You know, because you're looking at the end result, the common goal.
Exactly.
You know, is to remain together and to be one. So you say, I'll let the little bad things don't outweigh the good.
Or
the
we put it
benefits
on the
of it.
table.
Confrontation.
And we work it out.
Yes.
And we decide that, the reason that we came together is to be one. And so therefore we're not going to let anything and
Right,
anybody pull
right,
us
right, right.
apart. that's what it should be in church.
Right.
But somehow or another, we have gotten away from that, Bishop.
Exactly. Now there are certain things that are legitimate church hurt
Gotcha.
that we will talk about a little bit.
Right.
But you got things like husband and wife in the same church divorce.
Right.
And one feels the other one has a little more sympathy in the church. And they'll start saying, well, the church made me feel like I wasn't wanted anymore. They catered toward my husband or toward my wife. And they'll say, those folks over there.
I know. I got you.
And they'll blame that on the church when, again, it is perception versus, you know, if you had a deacon in the church that was very active in the church, whatever the reason they didn't make it, and you have somebody who, you know, his wife never really participated in any church activities, never showed up or anything. Sure, yeah, they know him.
Right.
They know him a little bit. Doesn't mean they won't help her.
Right.
Don't mean they won't be there for her in her pain.
Right.
But if you've never spoken to me and when you're smiling, it's hard to talk to me when you're frowning.
And then a lot of times, Bishop, in church, when there's an issue between individuals, they don't even give you the opportunity as a pastor to do your job,
your
which you've been
assignment,
called to do, which is to bring about an order, to bring some wisdom, some counsel to the situation. Unfortunately, they'll heap to themselves a leader in the situation, and now try to fix it amongst themselves, someone who obviously is not called to do what they are supposed to do in fixing the situation, and then they get even more hurt, and then they blame it on the church.
See, that's one of our primary roles as pastors, overseers, is to deal with those things among flocks.
Right.
You know, as far as being shepherd, the word pastor literally means shepherd.
Right.
Shepherds look into what's going on with the sheep. When certain noises, certain sounds come up, then they deal with it. But if you don't let the shepherd deal with it, and you start dealing with it among just sheep, you've lost order.
Right.
And anytime you've lost order, then you begin to lose the blessing.
That's right.
The blessing that comes with peace,
right.
the blessing that comes with joy, the blessing that comes with victory.
That's right. That's
because
right.
you're doing it out of order.
And a lot of times they won't bring it to the leadership.
Right.
Right.
They keep it amongst themselves, and it just gets infested.
And it grows.
And
And
grows.
then it's
And
contagious.
then by the time the pastor get it, it's just terminal. It's a situation that nobody really wants to
Right.
touch, and it's out of order to the fullest. But if they just bring the matter before those who are supposed to touch it,
And again, I believe that because oftentimes when we talk about church hurt, it's always one way. The parishioners sometimes feel as if they're the only ones that can experience church hurt.
Come on.
But I'm so concerned, oftentimes I'm concerned with leaders, pastors who are pastoring and they've been church hurt.
she went there.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
So church hurt is not just something that can happen to followers or the flock. Church hurt can happen to leadership.
Yes, ma'am.
But the expectations of the parishioners when leaders experience church hurt is, y'all just keep it moving. That's what you should expect that. That's
Right.
what happens as a
Right.
leader. You should expect that.
Exactly.
Well, if we could just turn that table at the round table.
Come on,
could
let's
we
turn
just
it.
turn that table a little bit and allow, if we could get parishioners to also have the same mindset. You're gonna suffer persecution. You're gonna suffer, different afflictions because everybody has different personalities.
Exactly.
I don't understand why when we come into the church, we feel as if our personalities and our diverse and our individuality go out the window
I don't
and we're
know.
droids.
I don't know.
But we have different personalities, and therefore you're gonna experience some conflict.
Exactly.
But just like you have to operate in resolution and get those things confronted, and everybody has to come and have a spirit of understanding.
Amen.
And it'll help mesh it, but church hurt can go both ways.
You went into my twist.
Yeah.
My twist was because we only think as members that it is only from pastor to us hurt, or from member to member, but we don't think about when we put our mouth on our pastor. Now we in the middle of seasonal changing and transitional periods, and now we start to gnaw on the pastor.
Yeah.
That's a church hurt.
Yeah.
The whole body suffers from that.
Yeah.
It's not just one individual. When they say all manner of ill against the man of God or the woman of God, you are hurting the church, and you're causing church hurt. Now, we don't look at it like that as a parishioner. And then we'll have conference after conference about our church hurt.
Okay.
and we just sit and really we just without resolution, because if we don't have a resolution to it,
Right.
in my book it looked like gossip, and so therefore you just hurting the church all over
around.
again,
The body.
the whole body. When are we going to get that?
How did Jesus deal with?
Come on.
Did he have to deal with church hurt with among his 12, 13 after Judas? Did he have to deal with that? And if so, because we're all supposed to be pattern. We're supposed to pattern our lives
Right.
after the example of Christ. How did he deal with it?
Right.
What did he do? You know, and most of the time, Christ, I love how he handled a lot of things. He went straight to the jugular. He
Right.
dealt with it right there. Yeah, some of y'all around this table, one of y'all gonna betray me.
Right.
You know, so he dealt with, and that's how, one of the ways you deal with healing, you have to not avoid it
Right.
or act as if it's not there.
And don't pick at it.
And don't let it,
Don't
to
pick
fester
at
like
it.
a sore, yeah.
Surgical.
Yes, handle it.
Straight cut it out. Straight go at it. Because you know if you pick at a sore, pick at a wound or something, it's gonna, if it's something that's not supposed to be there, just go straight
to
surgical
it.
and
Deal with
take
it.
care of it. And you probably, Bishop, know that that's the, in trial and error, know that that's the best way to do it.
Other part of that is, as leadership, particularly church leaders, we talk about leaders, but church leaders are completely different than worldly leaders. There's a whole, we can learn
It is.
all the leadership guidelines, but when you step into this place where you're leading flock and not people who are depending, you know, on us for a check and those kind of things, they're depending on you for spiritual life supposedly. When you get hurt as a shepherd, it's hard to explain to sheep what you're going through. It's hard to tell them the prayer life. And a lot of the reason we hurt is because we don't have time like this.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
what do you do when shepherds bleed? We run when they're bleeding. We bandage it up. But they're not equipped to bandage us up.
Right.
They, even when they tried to help Jesus, Jesus said, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You do not know what you're doing. So just that, and he would take off. And one of the amazing stories when you get in Mark, on the Mount of Transfiguration and in the Gospels, what happens when he's gone through a whole lot of things just before he runs into this demon down in the valley? He has a meeting with Moses and Elijah. They see it, but they're not privy to the conversation. There are certain conversations you have to have with other leadership.
That's right.
You
That's
teaching.
right.
Yeah, there's
right.
certain conversations you have to have with other leadership that they don't understand. They just know you in conflict.
Exactly. And sometimes that is some of the church hurt. Sometimes leaders are too, what I should say, chatty with the parishioners about stuff that's not supposed
Not
to be
supposed
to
to be
their
part of their-
ear.
Privy to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because as leaders, if we exposed
Right.
to the parishioners, sometimes they can't handle that.
Well, if they're too close, you're not leading anyway.
Right.
In order to lead, there has to be a space in between
Distance.
you and the one you're leading.
Right.
But one of the issues or elements that I often want to make sure leaders understand, sometimes leaders can't talk to other leaders because really if we just want to go ahead and accept the responsibility, because we're all one, we created this monster.
Right.
We created this type thing, and it's going to take leadership because we create this facade, leaders do, as if I'm fine, everything is wonderful. And so when it comes to church hurt, we have to learn how to let the parishioners see, I am like you, but I'm not you. I'm
Right.
not like you.
Exactly.
I'm your leader.
Right.
However, I have feelings, I have emotions, I have soft spots, just like you do.
Right.
Instead of us trying to be on the pinnacle,
Right.
you know, being leaders, we put ourselves on top and
Right.
having people to serve us. And so when it comes down to us experiencing what they experience, it's rather hard for them to feel. Jesus felt the infirmities. He felt what we felt. He went through what we went through so that he could relate and so that he could shepherd us more effectively.
And with the thing with Christ is in all of his grandeur, he sat with his
his
disciples.
leaders, yes.
He sat with them.
Yes.
But everybody knew that
He was
even
the leader.
See, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
The leader or the pastor of the church or the leader of the church but we still have to be close
leader.
enough, but there still must be a distinction
Yes.
between
Leadership and parishioners.
Right.
Yes.
And because that doesn't happen sometimes that causes church
And
hurt.
then it brings in the spirit of familiarity.
It does.
Which causes a breeding ground for all other ills
Right.
that go on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's another church hurt that I wanted to talk about, and this is the one where it's just we got parishioner to parishioner, and then we have parishioner to pastor, and then we have leader to leader.
My Jesus.
Church hurt.
Yeah.
Because who's the church?
Yeah.
It's not this building. It's
Yeah,
not.
we
It's
are.
not your building.
Yeah.
And it's not. Church. The church is us, the body of Christ. We're
I
the
think
church.
that's one of the most detrimental of the three that you said. The leader to leader.
Yeah.
Because if the head is sick, Isaiah says the whole body
Whole body.
Right.
is faint. And that's one of the most dangerous ones.
It is.
When it's leader to
Leader to
leader,
leader.
pastor to pastor.
Leader on leader.
Leader on leader.
And
Yeah.
honestly, can we be truthful?
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've all erred in that way.
Absolutely.
But when you come on, leaders,
Yeah.
when you get to the mindset that this can no longer continue,
Right.
we have to put a pin right there, stop where we are,
Right.
and say we need to redo this. This
Right.
is something we've got to change.
And that's an act of humility.
Yes, it is.
And accountability.
Yes, it is.
And being just straight transparent.
It is.
Which is sometimes where leaders lack. The transparency and the humility of it all. Look, messed up, didn't do that right. How I felt about you and you felt about me, it was based on false,
Right. Right.
ideals. And
Right.
hey, let's just get
Most
it
of the
right.
time, it ain't even true.
It doesn't even exist.
That's why we're here at this thing right here called the Round Table. Bishop.
Yeah.
Transparency is great, but you can't be transparent to everybody because everybody doesn't understand what they see. They don't understand. And back in the days, I used to do some modeling.
Right.
And you go back there behind the curtain, and models be changing clothes.
Right.
Models can see each other change clothes and
Right.
think nothing about it. They got to get out on set.
Right.
But if somebody else walks back there and sees a model changing clothes, their mouth falls open.
Right.
That's just what you do.
Right.
But those who are among us that know what you're doing don't have problems talking to you. I don't have problems talking to Pastor Paul. If
Right.
we got Prophet
Right.
and I got
Right.
questions and
Right.
discussions,
Right.
I don't have a problem talking to him about
Exactly.
those. But I can't talk to the sheep about.
Exactly.
Right. That's why we're
I
talking
need
about
to
leader
talk-
to leader.
I need to talk to him.
He should be able to see you behind the curtain.
right
Right.
behind the curtain because we
Right.
understand
Right.
what goes on back.
Exactly. Y'all in the same area, the same, you're experiencing the same things. There's no difference from your part of the vineyard to his to yours. And we should be able to see each other behind the scene and be transparent and be safe
Right.
behind that curtain.
Should be.
Should
but,
be.
Should be. But what are some of the things that hinder us from doing that? Because it's not that.
It's not. Well,
Because we want to make it public. We want to put everything on display here instead of behind the curtain.
right. And we do that for very selfish reasons.
Yes.
Your demise is my
Right.
gain.
Right.
Isn't that ugly?
That's very
But when you
ugly.
think about it, it's exactly what's happening.
If I gotta look good in order to look good, I gotta bring you down.
Right.
That's crazy.
But does it not happen?
it happens all the time.
I'm more spiritual, so I'm with God more than you, and so therefore
And
I
that's
can,
what creates this whole
Come on.
image and this facade and this hypocrisy and this lack of transparency
Right.
that's among leaders.
Right.
Because, I have to be something. And in order to be something, that means I got to make sure you look this big.
Right.
So that all my weaknesses don't come out and I look this big.
And do we not understand that we all know
If
that
we
each
bite and divide
other
each
are
other,
in the same? But
come.
I know
Yeah.
as a leader what other leaders are going through.
Right.
I know
Right.
it. Why are we pretending like it's not happening in our world?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not happening. Like we don't feel sometimes just like we want to throw our hands in the air and get this
Correct.
thing up and go get that 9 to 5 and forget all about
And,
all this
yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
Like we don't need somebody to come. I tell leaders sometimes that are around me. I said I really don't mind praying for you
Yeah.
and I really don't mind speaking over your life and blessing you. But do you ever think sometime
Yeah.
that just lay your hand on me?
Me.
The Bible,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest, and I think we mess it up so bad. when the Bible said, pray ye one another that you might be healed, we think that praying for somebody is going to get us healed. But it actually says, pray for one another. So if I pray for you, you duty bound to pray for me.
Exactly.
Now I get healed.
Right. Exactly.
Pray one for another.
Right.
So when I'm through, start praying.
Start
for
praying
praying
for
for
me.
me.
I
Yeah.
need to hear that.
So that means
Yeah.
don't fall out, because
Right.
then you got to pray for me
I
now.
need
So
to
don't
stand up.
stand up.
My turn.
Please don't fall out, because you ain't prayed for me yet. Can you stand up?
Can I lay down next to you while you pray? You go down, I'm going down. We're going down. You're going to talk to me. You're going to pray for me.
Okay, y'all just got me
Yeah,
laughing
you're
now.
right.
The church hurt thing, though, can y'all agree? Don't we have to stop this?
Oh, yes.
Don't we know that our God, our Father, our Savior, our Lord, is just sick and tired of this?
We understand he is our Savior and our Lord, but I think we forget we're the body.
Yeah.
And once he rose from the dead, the body was no longer sick. Did you hear what I said?
I got you.
There's no more sickness in the body, and as he is, so,
So
are we in this world
right now.
But we are here having this conversation because we don't understand that we are healed
Right.
by his stripes.
Right.
So we still looking for stripes on us
Right.
and missing the stripes that heal us.
Right.
We want it. The wonderful thing about the resurrection story to me is that he walks in the room and he still got holes in his head.
Yeah.
Isn't that
And
wonderful?
he still
Yeah.
got holes in his side.
Isn't that
Visible.
wonderful?
Yeah.
He said, now come and stick your hand in this and I bet you I don't say ouch.
Right. Exactly.
Because he told Martha, said, look, don't touch me till I go to the Father.
Right.
This ain't the time. I've got to go to a place where I can work on this thing and he fixes it. So when you see my scars, you know I don't still hurt.
Right.
I'm not reflecting that hurt on my
Right.
congregation. I'm not reflecting it on other pastors. I'm not becoming a hypocrite. I'm
Right.
not becoming judgmental. I'm not becoming hard. I'm
Right.
not becoming arrogant.
Right.
I'm not becoming self-righteous.
Right.
Because look, I do have them, but they don't hurt no more.
And it shouldn't. The hurt with we have to learn how, when it happens, deal with it, but don't let it stop your God-given assignment.
Right.
Jesus dealt with church hurt. As soon as Judas
Yes.
said, "I'm out," yeah, I'm the one.
Yeah.
He healed the man
Right.
in the garden right
Right.
before he went in. He
Right.
put the man
Ear
ear back
back
on.
on.
Called Peter
Peter.
clowning. He clowning. And,
In love.
Yeah, in love, because we need more Peters now. But in love, he put it back on, and Jesus still completed his assignment.
Right.
We can't let church hurt, things that we experience in our soulish realm, in our emotions, hinder us from doing what we were spiritually
Right.
designed and destined by
Right.
God to do.
Exactly.
If we do, then church hurt, which is from Satan,
Right.
is doing what it was designed to do, which is to tear us away from our kingdom assignment and to tear us apart.
Right.
Yeah.
With what you said, Bishop, about the hurting and you can see the
See
wound
it,
or whatever.
yeah.
We don't know who we are.
Right.
Is the reason why we're still holding on to the things of old. We don't know who we are in Christ. And so because we lack that knowledge, the awareness, we haven't woke up to who God said we are. We still try to look for, we're still grasping at things
Grasping,
that
you're right,
matter.
see it.
It don't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I come and say, Pastor, I know you got some issues, but here's my wound, so I can identify with you.
Yeah, we can.
So touch me in my wound so I can heal you. You know what I'm saying?
That's
in
good.
your soul. Touch me in my. You're not coming to me for counsel because I got it all together,
Right.
but I'm coming because I've been.
Got that wound.
Yeah, I've been
Right.
wounded.
Been there, done that.
But I'm okay if
That's
you touch
right.
this, if I can get you to touch. Now, if I act like I'm all powerful, I'm all untouchable, I
Right.
don't have any issues, you're going to walk out of there feeling like you less than me.
Right.
Right.
Paul said it.
Yeah.
I'd rather glory in my infirmities.
Yes.
I'd rather talk about my weaknesses, not my greatest accomplishments, not my achievements. I'd rather talk to you about what I've gone through and the hurt I've dealt with,
Right.
so that you can see that in this victory that I'm walking in, God will get the glory, because I couldn't have done this.
Exactly.
I couldn't have did
And
this.
also, too, parishioners can see their pastor's wounds and scars
And get well.
and get well, knowing that if my pastor had to go through this, and my pastor experienced this, if my pastor did this, that, or that,
Right.
I too can recover.
Yes.
Because I see the wound, but I see him also healed or
Right.
her also healed. And so this is really our hurts and pains that we're having in the church really shouldn't break us apart.
It
No,
should grow us.
It should
bind
bind
Us together
With
and
each other.
turn all focus back on
Yes.
the one that gives power
Yes.
when you're weak,
Yes.
which is Jesus Christ.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's
Yeah.
why our testimony is so powerful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Overcomers
By the-
by the blood of the Lamb
and
by
the
the
word
words
of our
Of our
testimony.
because that's where the power lies.
Yes.
The power lie in what we see and have heard
Yes.
that what God can do. So with the church, where we are right now.
Yeah.
So it starts here, right here,
Yeah.
the three of us.
Right here.
Yeah.
Boom.
This is where it starts.
It starts.
And there should be round tables all over America,
I
all
hope-
over the world.
I
Yeah.
hope this is my plan, and this is my whole agenda. If you want to know what it is, it's
Open it
just
up.
to spark this kind of
Yes.
conversation,
Yes.
so that we can have dialogue
Right.
about truths and
Right.
realness.
Right.
And so, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you
today.
for having us. It's
Y'all will
awesome.
be back.
Good stuff.
I hope that you are now, once the show is over, that you sit at your table, be it round, square. If you don't have a table, don't worry. Have the discussions. Talk real. Bring these truths to the surfaces so that we as believers can truly be the light that we were designed to be in the earth. And that others can know that we are serving the true and living God. Till the next time here, I'll meet you back next week at the round table.
From the ashes, so everywhere that we go, our light be flashing. 'Cause you're alive, yes, you're alive. You'll be right as you're dancing off the ashes. Rise from the ashes, so everywhere that we go, our light be flashing. 'Cause you're alive, yes, you're alive. You'll be right as you're dancing off the ashes.
I gotta put
Hi, I'm Sandy Powell, the host of The Roundtable, where we'll have discussions that are relevant to us all. See, I understand the importance of communication. It breaks down barriers and it gives us understanding. And if you're about real solutions to real problems and you want to have real talk, meet me here at The Roundtable every Sunday evening at 6:30 p.m. at WYBU. I'll see you there.
World Changes Tabernacle, led by Prophet Prathan Powell, is a word-based church committed to seeing you win. We're called to create a loving and caring community for all people and work together for justice and peace in our world. Recognizing that our spiritual journeys are all different, we strive to be respectful and inclusive concerning each individual's relationship with God. We believe that Christianity is a lifestyle, and we're committed to teaching, learning, and living the Word of God. It's more than a song, more than a shout, more than a dance. Whether you're a committed follower of Christ or just curious about God, you are invited to visit with us. Give us a call or check out our website for more information or to see our sermon times.